This is Daniel Cerrone, writer of number 46, The Debt Collector. You are listening to The Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
For a war to end, both sides need to find peace. It just won't be here. Welcome to The Blacklist Exposed. I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Mary Poppins, y'all. That's the wrong podcast. I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. Thanks for joining us once again as we discuss number 46 on The Blacklist, The Debt Collector. It was written by Daniel Cerrone and Kim Newton and directed by Bill Rowe. The Blacklist Exposed is supported by the new Reddington Watch from Leonard and Church. Inspired in the style of Raymond Reddington himself, don't miss your chance to own this limited edition timepiece from Leonard and Church in partnership with Sony Pictures Television and The Blacklist. Order yours today at leonardandchurch.com/blacklist. Show notes and other intel for this episode of The Blacklist Exposed can be found at theblacklistexposed.com.
Last week we asked you, with all the information provided up to this point, who are you backing in this war? Are you Team Red or are you Team Kaplan?
Yeah, 86% of you, despite Red being a criminal and a bad man, are still on his side. Shocker. I'm so shocked.
I know. Nobody's going to turn on Red, otherwise you end up dead.
Hold my shocked... Well, plus it's James Spader. I mean, if they recast him before the next season, then you might see some turning, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Especially if you watch that awesome Charlie Rose interview that he had.
I did not see it. Was it good?
It was good. It was very good. He spoke very highly of Hisham.
Is he on the YouTubes?
It was out. It's on the pbs.org website, I believe. You can catch it there.
I'm sure it's on the YouTube.
Probably.
It's got to
right
be.
now.
Everything's on the YouTube. Everything. I hope that when the season is over, the other 14% aren't too heartbroken, by the way. And this episode might have swayed some people. I don't know. It kind of swayed me a little bit. I was already on Kaplan's side because I like Kaplan. And I want some craziness. Oh, it's really too bad. All right, some additional thoughts. Judy Miller, she said, some are hoping Red and Kaplan get back together. That will never happen. Too many dead bodies, lost money, hurt innocence for Red to ever forgive and forget. Also, I think Kaplan is just plain wrong. Go Team Red.
I don't think she's too wrong.
I don't either. Paula Sell says, I can't decide. Kaplan has every right to take him down, but Red is mesmerizing. I have to root for mesmerizing, Paula. That's the word you chose, huh? I think she's got a little infatuation thing going.
Well, Liz might have a little bit of infatuation too. Who knows? Untie me, please.
What? Why do you got to make it weird?
Just having some fun. We also had some feedback come in last week that we missed due to recording early from Dondi. Another excellent episode. I like how Agent Gale has figured out so much and how Kate seriously weakened Red, yet never came close to the impenetrable fortress. Well, that sure changed this week, didn't it? I think Kate goofed by using Wrestler. I don't think Liz will put up with it and kills Mr. Kaplan either directly or indirectly, maybe handing her some poison. Probably overlooking something good. Looking forward to this week's episode.
Well, old news is over. The new news is in, and that is that season 5 is a go. Go, 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 go. What the hell was that? Was that a fire alarm?
That was me running around my room.
Okay, that's a weird noise.
Not that we didn't think it was going to happen, but it was a little dicey there. Come down to the wire.
Down to the wire, indeed.
Timeless got yanked and Blind Spot was in, and everybody went, what does that mean?
I didn't do that because I don't watch either one of those shows. So really, all I did was go, when's Blacklist? When's that news coming out?
But it's very interesting what's happening in the realm of television, because now if you look at actually NBC and Fox, they're all studio-owned pilots and pretty much axed everything that wasn't studio-owned. So it's all about the money.
Except the Blacklist. Blacklist isn't studio-owned, and they kept that one.
Yep. That one and the Blind Spot. Those are the last two holdouts.
I mean, some people understand. I think the networks make a little bit more money if they own it. That's really all that's about. It's about the cash, man.
And at the end of the day, people are all like, oh, the Blacklist ratings were so low this season. Like, how did it get renewed? Well, it's very simple, because when
they
you
weren't that low. I wish people,
low.
They weren't that low. I don't know where that started, but
you have to look at the whole picture.
They're down, not low. There's a difference.
Yeah.
They're down, not low.
They're winning consistently at the 10 o'clock hour on Thursday nights, which is very hard to even do in the first place. It's also very hard to even get anything above a 1.2 at 10 o'clock anymore, because people go to bed. 3, the Live Plus 7 numbers for the Blacklist make it the number 3 show on the network, so why wouldn't you renew it? Plus it has the Netflix deal. Plus it's international. So there you go. All good. We'll be back. 22 more episodes.
Yeah, they ordered 22 episodes. It isn't like a lot of TV shows where they ordered 13 and then maybe they'll pick up the back 9. So 22 episods ready to go.
Boom.
Next year.
Going over 100.
So much for having my free time, I guess. Damn it. And in better news, even cooler news, my daughter graduates college.
That's right.
And I'm pretty excited about that. So we are recording this episode right, like literally, the episode just ended. Just like 20 minutes ago, and we are already recording it. So if we get anything wrong, I'm gonna tell you a little secret. I don't care. I really don't care. My daughter's graduating college. That's all I care about. So hooah, go Amanda. And this is gonna be the best we can do it. We'll probably make some mistakes. Don't hold us too accountable. We're doing the best we can on short notice. And Troy is what is the word? You are accommodating me.
I find it kind of enthralling, exhilarating.
I don't know what you're going to say.
It feels like
it has to do with my daughter. You better be careful which word you pick.
No, it just feels like good old season 1 TV Talk Blacklist days, where it was like watch a show and get downstairs and get it out.
I wasn't part of that.
You weren't.
I didn't do that with you. I did my own thing.
We'll see how well you do then tonight.
I wing it pretty well, man. I'm just going to make stuff up. By the end of this, you might not even think I watched the episode.
That's very true.
It's quite possible. Quite possible.
Why don't you make up a profiling question for next week? Oh,
I got one. What will Gale do now that he knows the truth? What's he going to do? What's his move with this 2-hour season finale? It's 2 hours. It starts an hour earlier, so don't miss that because that happened when it came back just a few weeks ago. A lot of people missed that first hour. So it's a 2-hour season finale.
2 hours of gloriousness. It's going to be awesome. Did you watch the promo or did you not watch the promo?
I did watch the promo, but I don't want to talk about it because they did what they do every promo.
You will get some answers.
It's
like, yeah, right.
Is he going to be drugged this time? What's going to happen? He's going to be falling out a window and he says, I am your father. Oh, he didn't finish the sentence. Maybe it's true. I don't know. We'll find out next week. I'm pretty excited about it.
Raymond, I do love...
Not that one again. That one caused so much.
All right.
Let's go in. Let's get into this. And Kaplan said that she loves red this episode, so maybe there's going to be some new shippers going on. The Kaplan red, huh?
Could be.
Where's that love train?
Could be.
Opposites attract. Paul Abdul told me.
We'll come back to that. Hold that thought. But before my corpse rots anymore at the dead drop, let's get to this week's case profile.
Okay, we start the debt collector with the opening from Jaws. I don't know if anybody else felt this way, but that's exactly what I thought when this happened. It felt very Jaws-ish because it opens the exact same way as Jaws does.
That's true. The question I have for you is why?
Jaws question.
Why 2002? Was it really that important to put this guy into a barrel, lock him up, have him mummify, and all that stuff just to get to the point of, oh, hey, it's that guy, to get to that guy, to get to that guy?
Well, the odd part is he looks remarkably the same. I mean, he has not aged much in that 15 years. He still looks like the dude from, but now I know what the guy from Prison Break was doing when he was looking for jobs after he lost his job at the prison. You know, he was off doing this thing. But
well, he was still hanging out at the prison.
He was on Prison Break, you know.
I don't
know if you okay.
Yeah,
just checking.
It was Bellick. First thing I said, I was like, oh, that's why he's not on the reboot.
It's probably well that need spoiler alert, he died in season 4 of Prison Break, so you know.
So did some other people. They just happened to come back.
It's really a good point. Man, he got robbed. Yeah, I don't know why they had to go 15 years. Do you have an idea for that? I mean, other than to establish that he's been doing this for a long time and he's effective and he's very good at what he does. I mean, I guess that could be part of it. But also, well, you know what? I know why. Because they needed a very good reason to bring Kaplan in, perhaps?
I think it was more to tie back to the time frame of when Liz would have been that up-and-coming young profiler that just happened to bust the guy who was, you know, killing all these college professors. So maybe the two time periods were aligned with each other.
Maybe. I mean, there's a lot of coincidences in this to make it work. The fact that they find the barrel 15 years later. I mean, it seems like they deduced how to find this pretty quickly, but I guess they also were fed information from Reddington, so that led to the barrel But how would Reddington really know that the barrel was there other than, I guess, he has information? I guess he did converse with the guy, so maybe he knows that way. I don't know.
Well, clearly his Boy Scout troop wasn't doing beach cleanup because after 15 years, you think somebody would have seen the barrel washed up on the shore and taken care of it underneath the pier.
Well, if you do a good job, it wouldn't wash up, man.
True, but it was easy enough to find when they said, hey, there might be a barrel out there.
That's true. Well, anyway, that poor kid got killed because of Eileen, who overdosed on some cocktail drugs, and this guy the debt collector decided to kill. Is it Edgar Grant was his name, right?
Edgar Grant is the debt collector. You got it.
And he got the revenge and stuck him in the barrel and buried him at sea alive, which is pretty messed up.
You know what was sad about this, though? The fact that this kid died was that he was on the way to Joey Schoenberger's cabin. And Joey Schoenberger is another one of our Blacklist fandom people who ended up passing away recently. So love that there was another fandom shout-out in this episode.
Oh, my God, really? I didn't realize that.
It went by so fast. I went back as I started to kind of rewatch the prep, and I was like, oh, my God, it did say Joey's name. That's fantastic.
That's fantastic.
Kudos again to the room for being super, super awesome.
They truly appreciate the fans. They really do.
Loved it. Loved it.
A debt collector is after Liz, an avenging angel of sorts, and whatever the crime, he exacts revenge of equal measure and is after Liz. Now, as soon as this comes on, last week, Troy and I were talking, I don't remember if we talked on the show or outside of the show, that if Liz gets kidnapped again, for f***'s sake, this better be a fakery. This better be some serious fakery, because if Liz gets kidnapped again and it's not fakery, I want some ass kicking. And I don't mean on the show. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't bear to do it again. And there's about half the episode where I'm like, you know what? I feel like there's too many things where maybe it's not the Red doing it to set up Kaplan. And about 40 minutes in, there's still no reveal. Oh, man, you know what? Maybe I'm going to have to be pissed by the end of this episode. I had a rant all ready to go and everything. And then it's Red. Some bitch.
Well, see, then I had my rant ready to go because we said last week that, oh, look at that. You know, they're talking about this whole, the Hans situation and setting up a thing to make your enemy your friend. And, oh, wouldn't it be great if Red was the one that kidnapped him just to get Kaplan close? And sure enough, that turned out to be the plot of the episode. So we kind of called it last week.
We did. And I'm fine with that. I've always said I don't mind predictable as long as it's entertaining.
And it makes sense. And it makes sense.
Yes.
Yes.
Because the only other option is, when you see the preview, the only other option is she's taken yet again, and then I'm back to somebody needs an ass kicking, because we've had too many of those, that kind of thing.
I was hoping it would have been a better twist, though. I was hoping it was going to be that it was all set up, but it was set up by Liz herself, just to get Red and Kaplan to talk to each other, which is kind of what she was doing there. She was, was she doing like a marriage ceremony? Was that what was going on there? Like, do you accept her? Do you accept him?
I think she was trying to negotiate a deal, a truce, so to speak.
But she loves him, and he loves her.
She wasn't getting anywhere. Hey, we did get the acknowledgement that Kaplan does love her. We'll talk about that when we get into characters. So hold still. That's pretty much it. So let's go to start with music.
Yeah, I was jotting these down as we went, so don't hold me accountable for these. But I think it was one of my personal favorites from my college radio days, as Jimmy Eat World's The Middle starts out the song from the beach party. And then later in the episode, we hear One Man No City from the parquet courts. And then to close things out, I believe it was JBM's On Fire on a Tightrope over the awesome slow-mo scenes. I love the slow-mo gunfire. It's so much fun.
Always. I definitely want to talk about that whole shootout thing, because speaking of ass-kicking, Gale needs one. Mm-hmm. He almost got everybody killed. It's hard to root for I get some people are actually on his side. Hey, he's doing his job. He's just trying to bring down Reddington, but he literally almost killed everyone there. And that's not quite the legal answer I would be looking for if I was in the FBI. All right, let's start with Amraam. He made a few cool stretches and hunches, but outside of that, he doesn't do a whole lot this episode.
I like the whole, what beach? Like, hey, I got an idea. If you just tell me what beach it is. Come on, hurry up. I got stuff to do.
Yeah, there were a couple of random leaps of logic, but outside of that, he didn't, story-wise, it wasn't very beneficial. Very much just background. This episode. Agreed?
Agree. I think we're saving him for next week.
Oh, do you now?
I do.
What do you think he's going to do next week?
I don't know.
Well, then what are you getting all excited about?
Because I think someone else is coming back into the fold next week, too.
Oh, you probably know more than you're letting on. All right, Samar is in the field with some young buck. Did you notice that? She got like this young buck with her.
Did you notice at first when he looked up in the air, he kind of had like that magnificent hair flow, and I almost was like, "Hey, look, it's Mini Wrestler."
I did not notice that. I was kind of wondering why you wouldn't just take Amraam or somebody. Well, I guess they're on the outs.
Well, remember,
can't have them on the outs.
Remember, Amraam is technically not a like field agent.
Yeah, but he's cool in the field, so put him out in the field. I'm fine with it.
But then he would take a missile gun and he'd blow up the place, and there wouldn't be any evidence left. And
it's not like they follow the rules any other time.
It's true.
So,
which we have to correct Mr. Peterson here about the rule following thing.
No,
so,
you'd be wrong.
Because my wife was watching last week's episode to get caught up for tonight. Mm-hmm. And when Wrestler shoots the guy in the leg at Hitchens' house, technically the guy was spinning around and drew his firearm and was about to go hit Wrestler. And so Wrestler sees the firearm being drawn and then shoots him in the leg. So
incorrect. That's not how. Right. You're wrong. He's a law officer. He's a law official. So even no matter what, he has to identify himself. You can't just shoot. Because actually the person that was pulling their gun is more in the right than Wrestler is, because Wrestler has not identified himself as a law enforcement official. So therefore, by the way, a criminal science major, just saying, Wrestler has not identified himself. So he is a civilian at that point. He's a civilian with a gun on a Secret Service agent. Who do you think's in the right at that point?
Hey, all I'm saying is that you couldn't hear him say, "Hey, FBI, drop your weapon," because you're standing in the perspective of the Secret Service agent.
Hey, he didn't bother saying it. That's what I'm saying.
Couldn't hear it.
He didn't even have a out of his mouth. Nothing.
He was going to get shot.
What?
Just saying. He was going to get shot.
Just saying wrong. I mean, that's not accurate. It's just not accurate.
It didn't kill him.
I'm sorry.
It just crippled him for a little bit.
There's a reason why he's on restrictive duty at this, or he's not even on duty at this point, and that's because he officially broke the law. He's not wrong when he talks about, I don't know what's going to happen. I might be out of a job. I shot a Secret Service agent. He's not wrong. He did not have a right to shoot him, and he did not identify himself as a law enforcement agent.
Do you think that law enforcement agent would have identified himself? Hey,
he
Secret
didn't
Service,
need to.
Get off this property.
He was doing his job, so he did not need to identify himself. Wrestler did.
I don't understand the difference, but okay. Anyways.
He approaches Hitchens. He's protective detail for Hitchens. Wrestler's on private property, doesn't identify himself as a law enforcement official. He is officially a trespasser and a civilian. He is a criminal. Those are the people with a gun, by the way. Those are people that you shoot at if you're Secret Service. He had every right to shoot him dead.
I don't know why it's any different. I think he would still have to say, Secret Service, so drop your weapon or I'll shoot.
Facts, realism, laws, none of that matters. But because you like Wrestler, it should be good. We should be golden.
It was awesome. I love a little renegade cowboy.
We're moving on. Now, Samar, back to her and her young buck adventures. She finds Edgar's antiques. She finds out about what?
Creepy.
That basement and all the trophies and whatnot.
Yeah, what's in here? It's like, you don't want to go in there, Samar. Just don't go down there.
Right. And she finds out about Tyson Pryor, which, are you kind of surprised by that she had such a high-profile case before? I mean, I don't remember hearing about this. We might have. I just don't remember it.
Well, she was an up-and-coming profiler that
right.
escalated the ranks rather quickly. We assumed it was because Reddington helped her escalate those ranks very quickly. But this could be the case that got her on the map. She was a profiler and figured it out. It was an anthrax scare on a college campus where she was studying and put two together, and you can probably figure it out. So that's kind of cool. I like that. It was a nice add to the Liz Keane repertoire.
I liked it too. I just couldn't remember if we ever heard this name before. I don't recall ever hearing it. You're the encyclopedia. Do you remember it?
Oh, I don't remember the Tyson Pryor case specifically. No. Okay. I just know that she was this super duper awesome profiler, and so this would give us some interesting backstory into that part of her life.
I like that Samar had no problem torturing this poor guy.
Loved it.
Dying of cancer, and he's got horrible burns, and she's just she has no problem torturing him.
And then he's like, I don't know anything about it. I still don't know anything about it. I still don't know anything about it. And I was like, oh, yep, that's all right. Red captured her. Called it.
And you're like, yes and no. Yes and no. Well, how about Wrestler this episode? he looks a little distraught. He realizes what a dum-dum he was when he shot the Secret Service agent, which he wasn't supposed to do, by the way, because he's breaking the law. And now Cooper's got him basically helping Gale, and he in turn has like back and forth with Gale that leads to him finding out about Red. So really, this is all Ressler's fault, and we should send him cards. What do you think? I
think so. Love seeing Marvin Gerard come back up on this too.
Were you surprised by him actually trying to use his leverage with Ressler for a deal?
No, that's exactly what I would do.
Yeah, but he said he would never flip on Red, and isn't that kind of flipping on Red, or is that just no? That's flipping on the task force.
It's flipping on the task force. He's saying, "You want me to be quiet? Then you get me the heck out of here."
But it exposes Red.
Maybe a little bit.
A little bit. It would expose the entire deal with the post office, so it would be kind of turning on Red. But he did acknowledge the only person I love more is me.
That's right.
So I guess
he could be a flipper very easily.
Just think, if he just would have flipped for Kaplan, he wouldn't be in this predicament.
But again, he said the only person I love more than Red is myself. He didn't say I love Kaplan more than Red. So Kaplan is number 3. So sorry, Kate.
I don't think at this point. I don't think she's in the top 3 anymore.
No.
I think the list is a lot shorter. It's one shorter than it was before Kaplan got involved.
You know what it's like getting that saran wrap off the hairs on your arms? Oh, painful.
No. Do you know?
Maybe.
I don't. This is an interesting. Was this a college experience or something?
No,
because I don't.
Senior high school prank, I think it was.
Really? Were you like wrapped to a flagpole?
I was.
No, you weren't. Really?
I was.
You probably had it coming.
I probably did.
What kind of prank is that? Did you kick their ass?
No, I wish. I was a dork when I was in high school. Come on, please.
Do you want to call Gale? Do you want to get him involved? Call me, man.
No, because Gale's a horrible shot.
Do you want to call this Avenging Angel guy? You want to call Debt Collector?
No, I want to call Ressler. At least he gets his mark when he shoots somebody.
That's true. He shoots him in the leg when he's not supposed to. Let me see here. So we're back. We're on Ressler, and he does work with Gale, and I think Gale figures out mid-episode that Ressler is playing him.
You think? He kind of loses his temper.
Yeah, quite a bit.
Do not doubt me. It's almost like a John Locke, like, don't tell me what I can't do.
Then he lost his legs. It's weird. It's all connected to Lost. How do you think that's going to play out with Ressler?
It'll be interesting. I think that Ressler, in the end of this, is going to be the one that'll either expose the whole thing and it'll all come crumbling down next week, or Ressler's going to be the one that kind of puts it all together and Gale comes crumbling down and the post office is saved. But either way, I think Ressler's going to be finally the big focal point in this entire task force saving or destruction, which is good because we needed some more Diego this season.
We did. Are you happy we finally got something? Because we've been talking about how he needed more to do, and now we have more for him to do.
Yeah, and I love that the way that they brought it back in is the fact that they tied it into this, former life of his when he was chasing Reddington with Gale before the task force started. So the fact that they worked the past into the current storyline, I think that's absolutely fantastic, especially when you will get answers next week.
I'd like to take a tally of how many times that's been used in a promo. Next week, the biggest question will be answered. Lies.
You will know the truth. Maybe.
Hey, at least they didn't tell you somebody was alive that you thought was dead, right?
True.
So there's that. That should take us to Gale. Now, this guy is really making some headway. People are up. There is a very divided camp on either Team Gale or Team Oh Hell No, and I'm still not sure where I am. But I like him until he started a war that wasn't cool. I like that Ressler called him the Ghost Whisperer, not the Ghost Whisperer.
Clearly, because he was channeling something when he was like sitting there weeping over the bodies. He's like, "Oh my goodness, these people."
I'm pretty sure I just called him the Ghost for Wrestler, but that's not what I meant.
Could
Ghost
be.
Whisperer.
It's a former version of what Ressler would have become if Ressler had stayed doing this.
He's obviously very troubled because of this. He's very troubled, disturbed, because he never brought Red Reddington in. And all of these people that he tried to get to turn on him ended up on his ice rink. So he just wants to do anything to bring him in. And once he figures out that Ressler is playing him, and I think he figured it out because of the whole Gerard conversation, he follows him and he takes a shot. Now, what do you make of him taking the shot? What's your interpretation of why he took that shot at Red and missed, by the way?
He missed because it's exactly what you said. He is Raymond in a lot of ways in his mind. So if he kills his white whale, what is he going to chase if the white whale is dead? So I think he missed because it's kind of the same way that Red missed Kaplan, just a little bit to the side. Same concept. There's just that something about I can't take him down because then what's my purpose? Because he had him clear in his sights and he missed way wide. Way wide. Shot should have been a lot closer for the clean shot that he had.
So that's your interpretation.
Yeah. My interpretation is that I'm at that point where I have him in my sights and my energy and my ego and everything that I built up to this point. I'm going to take that damn shot because I earned that damn shot. But then he's like, oh, crap, what if I take the shot and then there's nothing to live for? And he kind of just moves the gun enough that he misses. In that hesitation. In that hesitation in his mind. You know, he did not shit with his mind. So Psychologically.
I'm going a different route. I think he missed intentionally because he wanted them all to shoot each other. He was trying to start the fight. He saw that it was coming to a conclusion, and he saw that Red was on the FBI side. They were on his side because nobody's got guns pointed at Red. They're all pointed at the other one. So he took the shot to start the fight, to start the gunfight, and hopefully just take him out that way.
Yeah, but the minute his muzzle flares, don't you think everybody in the woods would see the muzzle flare and then shoot at him and take him out?
They didn't.
They tried to.
They didn't. He was out, man. They said they didn't know until they did ballistics that there's a third party. So they thought it came from one of the snipers. So no, I don't think that happened. I think he did it to instigate the war, and it just didn't work out the way he wanted.
Well, it couldn't have come from one of the snipers because all the snipers were Red's people.
You're misunderstanding what I'm saying. I'm saying he did it so that everybody else would start shooting.
Agree.
Yeah. So that's why. They don't know where the shot came from. Could have been Kaplan has a sniper. They don't know where it's coming from. They just know a gunshot almost hit Red, and then everybody's got their guns already out, and chaos erupts. That's just how it happened.
More important.
Or it's possible that he's working for Kaplan, but I do not think that's the case.
I don't think that's the case at all. I think he's a rogue.
I don't either.
Completely separate. But
I do too, but I've already seen it like as we were preparing. I already saw maybe he works for Kaplan. I'm like, well, I mean, it's possible, but I think he totally did that to get Red killed because he saw he's protected by the FBI and that will get him killed.
Let's be very clear on this also. Number one, the shot comes in and Dembe pulls Red into the house, but leaves Liz outside all by herself to be shot at and killed. And the whole thing was protect Liz. Why wasn't Raymond saying, Dembe, grab Liz, make sure Liz is safe?
That's a really good point.
Mm-hmm.
Are you sure she was still out on the porch?
She was still sitting there laying on the ground. She was wide in the open. She could have been whacked at any second.
Man.
Like, yeah, Kaplan and her team's running off to the side, and Dembe's pulling Red inside the house, and there's Liz going, what about me?
Well, that is Dembe's priority. I mean, he makes that very clear. Red is his priority, not Liz. Liz is Red's priority, not Dembe's.
But you would think that Red would have been saying, Dembe, get Liz.
Well, we couldn't hear what was going on. There's a lot of chaos, Troy. I don't know if you saw. It was crazy. We don't know what's going on. Somehow Kaplan got away. All that gunfire, and somehow Kaplan got away. Like, that's some magic stuff, man. That's David Copperfield right there.
She is a crafty, sly little woman.
That's pretty crafty. I do admit. But you kind of saw it coming.
Yeah.
I didn't see any option where Kaplan actually goes to jail.
At first, I'm like, when the shot happened, I'm like, is this really what the writers were trying to do? And is this how I would have written this? Couldn't he have done something differently? That he's actually going to try to shoot Reddington and kill everybody in one fell swoop? Because what happens if everybody hits? And then everybody's dead. It's like, well, what about the finale next week?
Well, you think he was trying to kill him and he just missed because of psychological problems.
I do.
Well, next week we're going to know for sure. So everybody mark your calendars because I'm pretty sure I'm right, and I would love to tell Troy how wrong he is.
That's right.
It makes me happy.
Because you will get some answers.
That just makes me laugh.
Every time.
All right, Dembe says a word and makes Red spill. He gets, all he does is like, hey, what's up, guy? And Red starts telling him stories and that's great because we finally get a monologue from Dembe. You know, he's often very somber and stoic. He says, it broke my heart that day in the woods, but Kate must be stopped. You can't let Kate make you give up everything that gives you purpose. Stop it. Stop her.
I find that
You're
interesting.
surprised to hear that from Dembe after all the feeling he had for her earlier.
I'm 100% very surprised and shocked that this conversation happened. But I love that he refocuses it. He said, this is what we came to the FBI for. This is what the whole purpose was. When you're so close, don't give up on that purpose. Put Kate down. So at least the loyalty concept, the friendship concept is still there, reminding Red what's actually happening.
I was 93.6% surprised. I'm rarely ever 100% anything. And I was just shocked to hear him say it so forthright, so forcefully. Like, yeah, you got to take her out. If that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. And he also knew that was the plan the whole time. So you had that.
That's true.
Okay, Cooper gets Ressler out to work with Gale and keep him at bay. And
can we talk about that for a minute?
Sure.
Cooper said, hey, you should keep Gale thinking that we're feeding Red cases. Like, did I hear that wrong? Because it sounded to me like Cooper said, you should just go work with Gale and keep him thinking that we are actually feeding him cases. That's what I heard.
No, I think he's saying, like, you keep feeding him. Keep feeding Ressler. Or keep feeding him misinformation so he stays off our back, that kind of thing. That's the way I took it.
That's the way I thought he said it, but that's not what I heard. I'll have to go back and look at the closed captioning on it, because, again, we just came down here right after the episode. So, but it sounded like he said, yeah, keep him believing that we're feeding the cases. And I was like, well, that's kind of interesting.
I don't think that's what he said, but
okay.
I could be totally wrong. I don't believe so.
That's how I wrote my notes. So I'll have to go back and check that one.
No, but he really wants Ressler to throw him off, and that obviously backfired. He should have kept him away from Gale, honestly, because Kaplan wouldn't have gotten away. Red's plan would have worked.
But I love Daddy Cooper again. Cooper's like the best dad ever.
How so?
Well,
what are you talking about?
Don't beat yourself up, man. It's not your fault. You got drugged and stuff happens, man. Just brush it off. It'll all be good. We got the doctor, and he's going to totally give you all the goods, and you'll be fine. You'll be fine. Go back to work. Go help out that other guy. He's just so smooth.
He's pretty smooth. I hope he gets some more. I think he's going to be getting some more stuff in the finale, I think. I don't know why. I just have a gut feeling. All right, Liz. Let's move to Liz. She was heading to a safe house when the debt collector shows up. Where the hell's Tom? I mean, not complaining. I'm just saying, where the hell's Tom?
Well, remember when they started out this sequence of events after Redemption was over, it had only been 30 days. And I think on the Redemption, it's technically 60 days of time passing. So if Tom's going to show up, he's probably going to show up in the finale.
Makes sense.
Why not?
But Agnes is being watched by Red's people.
Can we talk about that for a minute?
Sure. She trusts Red's people to watch Agnes.
Yeah, you can't come up to the apartment, but I'm going to go ahead and give Agnes to your guys so that they can babysit the baby. That seems like a weird catch-22 oxymoron thing going on in their relationship.
It's an odd one. But I think, Kaplan showed up at the apartment the last episode. That might be why she made that move. Right? Because that could be why that happened. To protect the baby.
Makes sense. And it was also a way to not have the baby actually be in the episode.
Whatever it takes.
Refer to Agnes, but don't see Agnes.
I like it. As most people should do with all of their children. Absolutely. Just have them and then not have to deal with them and have a nanny raise them like rich people do. That's the life I want.
Yeah.
It's too late. I already did it, and that one's graduating college. What? All right. She finds out that she thinks Tyson Pryor's the one that's after her, but it's not her. She finds out through a little bit of a surprise once she's tied up and brought to this little cabin that it's actually Red Reddington. Dun, dun, dun. And wow, that was a reveal. I will admit, as much as I thought it was maybe was going to happen, I didn't expect it to happen like that because Red did put her in the hands of a sociopath.
True.
And I guess he did need the task force to get involved, so he did need their buy-in, but it still seems like a really risky plan. But he seems to trust the sociopath quite well. I told him not to hurt you. Oh, okay.
And he didn't. Just
True.
Handcuffed her, put her in the back, and sprayed her in the face. Maybe, cut her some eye problems. Going to have to redo the LASIK surgery now or something, but...
Do you think at this point she is immune, just completely immune to all the horrible things that Red does?
Maybe. Look at Gale. Gale's probably that same way. I mean, he's the opposite of immune. He's completely 100% affected by everything that Red does. So at what point is Liz going to snap and become the Gale, like we were talking about last week? Like looking in the mirror at each other, and
I want her to snap and become the Red. That's what I want.
That'd be
I want
interesting.
Red. Well, she was starting to go down that path a little bit, and then kind of came back. Remember season
3?
Three, where she was on the run?
Yep.
She had a lot of Red moments there, and I was kind of looking forward to seeing Liz go full Red, if that's the thing.
She probably gets it from her mom more than Red, but because her mom was a little bit of a
different
killer
different
too.
People, acknowledging them they're different people. Is that what I'm hearing? That's what it feels like.
I didn't say that.
Huh?
I just said that she got it from her mom.
Yeah. Well, you implied there were two people.
No, you're implying there's two people. I just said she got the skills from her mom.
I'm just saying. You said her mom, not Red. That's what you said. But that implies two different people.
Anyways.
Oh, some bitch. You ain't found a way to get around that one. Good for you.
I have, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, you haven't. All right, Kaplan agrees to halt the war to help Red. Man, I actually kind of felt bad for her. Seriously, she's the only one in this episode doing the right thing, and people are still on Red's side. Still on his side. They're still like, go Red, that was brilliant. I'm like, she's the only one doing the right thing. Like, everybody else is kind of screwing someone else over in this episode, well, except for Liz. And Kaplan still, I mean, go Spader. I think that's pretty funny.
She did lose the tail though for the dead body.
That was very smooth, man. And she did it for Liz. Like, she's doing the right thing. Everything she's doing is to try to help her. And she's right when she gets to that cabin and she says, you told me what side you were on and where you believe your loyalty should be when you screamed out to save me. That was very,
very telling.
That was very telling. Very telling.
But could she still be on Red's side? She's calling out to Kaplan because she doesn't want Red to travel farther down the rabbit hole into this
no, it wasn't
evil
about Red.
state. He's trying to save Red at the same time.
No, I don't think she gives a rat's ass about saving Red in that respect. I think it's totally about saving Kaplan. Kaplan is tried to help her, and she's in this predicament because she helped Liz. I think Liz wants to do everything she can to protect her.
And because she's another person that knows something about her past.
She never seems to ask those questions. So she seems to be fine with the mystery at this point.
Maybe she'll start asking next week. Who knows?
Everything I've done my entire life has been for two purposes. One, to protect myself, and the other one to protect you, I believe is what Red said, something to that effect.
Yep.
And all I kept thinking was, that feels like a perfect entryway to go, you know what? Why? Let's examine this, and why don't you tell me why? Well, I'm not going to tell you. Oh, no. You're going to tell me.
Yeah, because she had no problem asking Kaplan for that.
Exactly.
Like, hey, we're on FaceTime here. By the way, I don't need your help, Kaplan. I can protect myself. Why doesn't she just turn to Red and say, you know what, Red? I don't need you. I can protect myself. She doesn't say it to Red. Why not? Why not?
Interesting stuff. Do you think she's really that skilled at a cleaner that she could find out evidence that the FBI and their skilled technicians couldn't find? I mean, she doesn't even have a blacklight.
She might have a blacklight. She's able to get a whole pregnancy maternity ward set up, delivered to a disco, so she can probably find a blacklight somewhere.
I'm saying it didn't look like it from what we saw. We honestly didn't see a whole lot.
It was a very quick scene.
I just thought it was funny that we had to go. I mean, the FBI was on board. They're like, yeah, I guess our team really can't. They kind of suck. They're just not good enough. We need to hire a cleaner to do our forensics.
Well, it's an interesting case because how many times you find a body 15 years later mummified?
It is, but even you have to acknowledge that's kind of funny.
It is. Amraam's a computer guy. He's not a doctor.
They do have forensic people, though.
Where's Kevin Wiseman? Where's the doctor?
There's other people. I'm sure even on the same network they could have called. They could have come in and done this. I just thought it was kind of funny. But I'm glad
Chicago Med, we're sending you a body.
Exactly. Nice crossover opportunity. There you go. Juice the ratings that way, too. But anyway, it leads to Edgar, and she figures out from the troop keys where they're holding up and everything else. How has she gone too far? Red says she's gone too far. Or somebody, I don't remember who said. Maybe it was Dembe. Somebody said she's gone too far. How has she gone too far versus what Red has done?
She impersonated a teacher and waved a gun at a student. That's a little too far.
He was cyberbullying, and I'm kind of on her side.
I am too, especially after watching 13 Reasons Why. But at the same time, you just don't waving a gun around in school.
Look, you little bastard. You take the picture down. She told you. I thought that was actually it was one of those moments where I'm like, okay, come on. You know, you have a little, like, okay, come on. But I love the moment anyway. It's one of those.
But she keeps walking. She's like, do it. Do it.
She just played it so straight. Oh, because I got a gun. That's funny. You think he took it down?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. You better have. Because she told him, take it down. And she's walking away. Take it down.
If not, she's putting a post back up about him because he just wet his pants.
Okay, but anyway, back to the original question. How has she gone too far? She got shot in the face and left for dead by the guy. From my perspective, how exactly has she gone too far? I can't think of a reason to justify her going too far. I would go to the ends of the earth to bring that man down.
Yeah, the Hans thing was too far, though. I mean, that was Red's place to break that news to Werner when it was the time to do so. It wasn't Kate's place to do that.
Because he was ever going to do it, they were going to have some coffee cake and talk about how he killed his son. Or got his son killed.
Maybe. Like,
right.
They're 75, just sitting there on the back porch. And remember, we started up this criminal empire. By the way, your son, he was strangled to death, and it was my fault.
My bad. Let me tell you a time.
Because then Werner gets all like excited about it, has a heart attack, and falls over, and then same outcome.
Yeah, once again, I'm still on Team Kaplan because I think it's more fun. I think she's been wronged more than Red in this situation. So
she's definitely been wronged quite a bit.
Yes, she has. And I love the line, "Yo, what? Shoot me again?" That was a highlight for me.
That was great.
All right, Red. He deals with Walder.
Wait! I got one more.
Okay.
When they're standing across from each other, got to call this out because she's standing there and they're looking at each other, and Kaplan says, "I loved you." And this is also when we have Red earlier in the episode talking to Dembe, who said, "I haven't loved many people in my life. Kate was one of them." Mm-hmm. Flashback to the Kate Kaplan-centric episode when Katerina was talking to her on the phone and says, "I got to go. Sorry. Unfortunately, I got to do this, and I love you." And it hangs up the phone. Mm-hmm. Just saying. It's another tie-in to the mother theory possibility.
Okay, I just want to say that's not a tie-in at all. It's just it's a random possibility.
Why do you have two instances of saying that I haven't loved many people in my life?
They've worked together for 30 years. There's a reason. Or 20 years, whatever. There's a reason. There you go. I just killed your whole point of view.
For 30 years, he hasn't loved anybody.
He's loved very few people.
Right.
Yeah, she's one of them because that's been it. Oh my God, I'm not having this fight with you. I'm just not doing it. You have no point of view because that's the theory it's like I was telling somebody earlier. You were like when the cop gets a suspect, and even when they get a solid rock hard alibi, they still won't let that suspect go. You're that guy. So I'm not. You know what?
I'm just pointing out things.
You can have it.
I'm just pointing out things that are in the show. There's a specific reason why they made Katerina say the words "I love you" to Kate in that moment.
Possibly, or they just wanted to illustrate that she's close to both of them.
Just like Red's close to both of them now.
Oh my God! All right. Well, moving on. Red. He works with Walder and bought a fleet of ships. So he needs some travel routes secured, which work out because he finally gets him with the whole penny stock argument, which is a good argument.
It was a great argument. Yeah, totally. Mm-hmm. They're deal makers.
Once I get back on the top, you'll be riding fine. And he needs this now. He needs it. Well, what did you think about that whole exchange? Anything you pick up from that?
A steerage at least has a bed. It's better than goats. So I think that's a step up in the right direction.
I kind of thought he was on like a ship in the last episode, but I guess he was just in, I don't know what he was on, but I thought he was already out of the country at that point.
No, they were still in the goat truck.
Okay.
The goat cart, as you said last week.
Agnes is safe. We got that. He admitted he loved Kate, like you said, which, of course, ties into nothing. Now, what if Red's gone too far? I mean, we talked about Kaplan. What if he's gone too far?
Well, he's gone too far.
I don't know, man. Everybody's still on his side. Everybody. I mean, 84% or 86%, whatever, are still on his side.
You could still be on his side, but he's clearly gone too far. He's trying
Wouldn't you be on the side? I'm just saying, people. Wouldn't you be on the side of the person you feel most wronged?
No, because the whole point of Red Reddington is this whole concept of redemption, if you will. The fact of the whole Mexican fish story. Would I recognize the light if it ever was even shown to me? Like, I would give anything to be able to just be free again and smoke the cigars on top of the mountain. You know, all of these things that he's talking about. He's having these conversations. He's saying, you know, I want to end this war. I want to forgive Kate. I want to be a better person. Because every time I get involved with this stuff, something bad happens. And when something bad happens, Liz is affected by it. And so he's realizing this, that it's maybe everything is too much. And he wants to back off. So he's realizing himself that it's gone too far. And he wants to make recompense for it, to use a term from this week's episode.
To use what?
Recompense.
What the hell does that mean?
That's what the guy was saying, the debt collector. When he's saying, just say it, recompense. It's to you know, make amends, make repentance for your crimes of what you've done before.
Why wouldn't you just say repentance?
Because you used the word recompense in the episode. I was trying to tie it in for you.
Yeah, but why? I'm saying in everyday comment, why wouldn't you say repentance?
I don't know. I would say just make up for it in everyday language.
You throw a K in there, and I'm just messing everything up. I can't do that. Just keep it simple. Repentance. We're all good.
That's the whole point of the episode, though, is the fact that you have this debt collector who's basically going after revenge and trying to make things right because of the thing that happened to his wife with her losing her legs. So here's Red trying to go on this revenge quest again against Kate for everything that Kate's doing against him, and he's realizing that that's not the right way to go about it. And so he's already making a shift, a change, a directional movement into another way, except that you can't do it unless the other side is willing to do it too. All
right. Did you like the flip, the reveal that Red was behind it?
Yeah, because we called it last week.
No, not because we called it. Did you actually like it as a story element? Did it play well for you?
I think it played just fine. I mean, I was full on expecting it not to happen. By the time it got to that point of the episode, I'm like, okay, it hasn't flipped. The cancer guy said, I don't know anything about it. Therefore, clearly it's going to be a flip, but it still hasn't happened yet. And then the flip happened, and you're like, okay, I'm good with that because I kind of predicted that's what exactly was going to happen anyway. So, yeah, I was okay with the flip. I like it.
Do you think if he would have asked her, she would have gone along with it?
That's the part of it that I'm struggling with. The whole, like, can you untie me? And he's like, no, I don't think I can do that. So that's the part where you go, okay, Red is still being Red and thinking about himself only and not about Liz, because he could have just said, hey, let's do this. I got a really cool game we can play. Let's play, I'm the kidnapper and you're the victim, and we'll get Kate and drawn out. It'll be totally fun, and you can have a cool Red story with it. But unfortunately, it didn't happen that way.
She probably wouldn't have went for it anyway.
I think she would have gone with it, actually.
To draw her up? Well, only if he was going to let her live. That's the only way she would do it.
Exactly. You'd have to have that promise up front.
Yeah. We got the big question, which they even posed, which, thank God. Throughout this episode, there's a real gray line. Do you think at any point in this episode, Red actually lies to Liz?
No, Red doesn't lie to Liz.
Yeah, I know that's what we say, and I know that's what the show says. But I'm asking you, do you think at any point, because there's a lot of really close calls, and even Liz calls him out, you lied to me. And he's like, well, I thought it, da-da-da-da. Do you think he actually lied to her at any point?
I'd have to watch it again before I can answer that question.
I don't think he did. I think he had his bases covered. It was very much he covered his bases and spoke in a way that wasn't technically a lie kind of thing. So, but she does ask him, or she does throw it at him, and I'm glad that they brought that up again. Because they kind of need to reinforce it every now and again that he doesn't lie to her.
Well, what did she call him out on, I guess, if you remember?
Because he said that he was in a ship.
He wasn't.
Or something like that.
But he wasn't a ship.
No, it was something else. Stewage.
He was. He was in steerage.
Steerage, yeah. But he thought he was going to stay there, and he didn't. She thought he was still going to be there, and he found another way to get there or something like that. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
She called him out and said, "You lied to me," and he's like, "I thought I was, and I found a better option or something."
Well, he was in steerage, and he did find a better option. He just got to the States faster than he originally intended. Well, so technically, it's not a lie. He was in steerage. That's what Boulder gave him.
That's what I just said.
Yeah.
I literally just said that. But
so to answer your
you can
question,
say it again if you need
to answer your question, no, she did not lie to Liz.
All right.
He did not lie to Liz.
Oh, I don't. That was a Freudian slip is what that was for you.
It totally was.
Just for you. Totally just for you. All right. Before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. Love that line. That was great. Said the spider to the fly, and then we get the retort. We get the and the fly to the spider. That was a nice throwing it back in her face kind of thing. What do you think about all this? Now we're preparing for the season finale, a 2-hour finale. And like I said, this episode, we're not as prepared as we normally are. So I apologize if we missed anything, and I'm sure we did. You guys will fill us in the Facebook group or on Twitter. Please do. But where do you see this going for the 2-hour season finale?
I honestly don't know, because I didn't expect Kaplan to be able to escape. And so the fact that Kaplan escaped and they have no bead on her.
Really?
Yeah. Like, I didn't... Because if it's supposed to be this war coming to a climax, I mean, they're going to get on the phone and talk to each other again? Like, hello, Kate. Hello, Raymond. Nice to hear from you again, dearie. They're going to keep doing that phone call thing back and forth. So I'm just going to go in, like, eyes open and just enjoy the finale for what it is. I'm not even going to speculate, because it could go 20 different ways next week, I think. They could team up and be together again and everything would be hunky-dory. Kaplan could end up dead. Liz could end up dead. Cooper could end up dead. I think though, for this finale, someone's got to die from the main cast.
Really?
We haven't had anybody die, and this is a shout-out to Rory. We haven't had anybody die since Mira Malik from the main cast of people. I think 4 seasons.
That was the first season, right?
That was the first season. So I think at this point in the show, a main character's got to die. Something big's got to happen.
Now, a main character or somebody like Annie or Marvin or somebody who's a secondary character.
One of them could go too, potentially, but there has to be a main character die.
Would you call Kaplan a main character at this point?
Yes, I would call Kaplan a main. The whole arc is about her.
I'm just clarifying.
So if Kaplan were to die at the end of this, after the 2 hours next week, I think that would be. I mean, it's sad, depressing, heartbreaking, but it would be a satisfactory season finale. Yeah,
I need collateral damage of some sort too.
Yeah,
and it's the reason why I brought up like Annie or Marvin Gerard is because they've been prominent the last few episodes.
Annie would be the actress.
I'm sorry, Janet. Sorry.
Yes.
So they've both been prominent, and therefore I could see potentially them becoming collateral damage. But that's not as impactful, I don't think, to us. And when you have, don't get me wrong, a lot of TV shows do it. When you've had a couple fake deaths here and there, you kind of need a real one to put things right back in place.
Yeah, it's like the balance of the force.
Yeah, there you go. You need to. Now, I don't know. There's nobody I would want to lose that role or anything. Well, maybe one, but that character's not currently there, so it's working out great right now. No, I don't want anybody to have to, but I think you have to have some collateral damage of some sort, because you need to realign the stars and say, "Yay, there are real stakes involved," and this little pissing match that Red engaged in, everybody's still rooting for him. This is what it brought. This is the wrath it brought. I think that kind of thing is important in storytelling. So,
and Julian Gale going down. Now Red shooting Julian Gale and Gale dying, I think would be like poetic justice in some way. So from a literary sense, I could probably accept that death.
Only
and
if wrestlers saw it.
I think that's the key. Yeah, I think there could be some really good literary references in that moment, but at the same time, it's an easy death. This can't be an easy death. It's got to be a big death. Big death. That's what we're calling for.
I don't know if it'll happen, but I'm just saying, and there's really nobody that I want to suffer that fate. So but that's why it works, because it'll punch in the gut. Because oh my God, I don't want to lose anybody. And then if you do, it's really going to hit you, and it reinforces the stakes are real. It's not just, hey, everybody's safe, which I honestly think people think that at this point to a degree.
Yeah, if all of this stuff around Red is causing all this turmoil in Liz's life, and all this stuff is just stirring up a pot, and Red's got all these enemies that are already vying for him even before Werner's situation, then we really got to have a war that's truly a war. Like, there's enemies approaching. Death is coming from every corner of the room. So someone has to be impacted because of this situation to a point where Red finally goes and says, you know what? I'm done. Here's everything you need to know. I'm out. I'm sorry I brought all this on everybody.
Now, you could do a threefold. You could do the Marvin Gerard, you could do the Janet, and you could do the Gale. So that impacts other people in the cast, like several people in the cast. It impacts Amraam, it impacts Wrestler, and it impacts Red himself. I mean, you could do that, and that might do some damage. And also, well, I really don't want Kaplan to die. I really want her to stick around for a while. So you could do those, and I think that might function because that would show some serious collateral damage, and you wouldn't have to take out any of the main cast.
Okay, so we're saying there has to be collateral damage because
there has
of this
to be
war.
Serious collateral damage. If you're not taking out a main cast member, you better take out like 3 or 4 other secondary characters. What I'm saying, you need Glenn.
No,
because that would just crush people,
dude. Yeah, you cannot kill
Glenn.
Jelly Bean.
Characters you love are the ones that will crush you. That's the point.
No, you can't kill Jelly Bean.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just saying it has to be some collateral damage. That's all.
Brimley, I could be okay with. That smelly llama just needs to go away.
He hasn't been there in a while.
I know. We need to see Brimley in the finale.
I don't want Brimley to die. You got to be relevant, like recently, to really be impactful. You can't be a character that people are like, which episode was he in? Huh? I don't remember that guy.
Everybody remembers Brimley, the llama.
Lord. All right. Well, I think it's going to do it for this week. We've got a lot coming up. Next week should be a doozy because that 2-hour finale I think is going to be great. So I'm sure we'll have a nice long chitty chat next week. But we do have a little bit more, so don't leave yet. Show's not over, but if you want to go even deeper into the mystery of Red Reddington, visit our partner Blacklist site, theblacklistnbc.com.
Running a criminal organization, much like Red's, is no easy feat. Being on time is especially crucial and could mean the difference between securing the deal or securing your fate. Thankfully, you will never be put in that situation thanks to the latest timepiece from Leonard & Church. Inspired by Red himself, the Reddington watch will ensure you are on time for that secret coffee shop meeting, random payphone call, or dead drop. Showcasing the famous red and black colors of the Blacklist TV show, the unisex 40mm stainless steel case will ensure the single-handed timepiece is always on the mark. Plus, the premium South American hide suede leather strap will keep it securely affixed on your wrist, especially around those shady criminal pickpocket grifter types. There are only a few of these limited edition Reddington watches left, so pick up one today at leonardandchurch.com/blacklist. That's leonardandchurch.com/blacklist. Welcome to Red's Rhetoric, that part of the show where we play 2 scenes from this week's episode of The Blacklist, and then you get to vote which is your favorite over at theblacklistexposed.com. Just look for the post for The Debt Collector. Apparently, last week, much of you, much like Sheldon Cooper, have a fascination for trains, as Red Train won last week's winner with about 75% of the vote. This week, our first clip comes when Red meets with Boulder Magnuson.
Boulder, you and I are deal makers. We buy low and sell high. Getting that cruise line on the cheap was better than sex with your mistress. Either of them. I'm a little down on my luck. A penny stock. Invest in me now, and when I rise, you'll be able to afford 3 mistresses.
I may have something in steerage.
Done. My goodness, I haven't been in steerage since Li Yangping and I stowed away in a Chinese destroyer off the coast of Pulau Belitung.
Our second clip comes when Red has a chat with the debt collector.
I didn't hurt it. That must have been dissatisfying for you. You're a glutton for vengeance. I understand. There's almost nothing as satisfying as revenge. Wanting someone to hurt because you hurt. An eye for an eye. Feels like God's work. Until you realize there is no God and you've committed sins for which there is no absolution.
I just did what you asked. Nothing more.
Word to the wise, before you embark on a journey of revenge, dig 2 graves. Confucius, stunningly applicable even after all these years.
2 graves? Is the other one for you or for Kaplan?
Neither, I hope. That's up to her.
Which was your favorite? If you just need a way to get out of Dodge, vote hashtag red steerage. Or if you always dig two graves, vote hashtag red revenge.
Hi, it's Megan Boone, and you're listening to Blacklist Exposed on Golden Spiral Media.
Now we're moving on to Special Agent Intel, but before we get going today, we received 2 notes last week that we wanted to highlight. First, Jax dropped this over on the website and said, "Guys, I love the podcast, I really do, but you're killing us with your nonstop side jokes and cracking up at your own jokes. You'll start a sentence and then get sidetracked, giggling over the pronunciation of a character's name or talking about Aerosmith or Eminem impressions. Really, guys? Think of your listeners. The humor is there naturally, but the endless side jokes are only amusing to yourselves. Try listening to some past episodes and count how many times you guys can't get a sentence completed without an unnecessary joke. It can be very tedious to listen to from our perspective." The second note then came in from Grace Normand in our Facebook group, which said, "Listening to the podcast isn't just listening to an interesting discussion about the Blacklist, it's also a comedy." Laughy face, laughy face, laughy face. So, to those 2 notes, all I'm going to say is this, that you could please all of the people some of the time and some of the people all of the time. But our job is to give all the intel and analysis surrounding the episode of the Blacklist. But our job is also to entertain you guys, and when we have over 100 episodes of something in the can, which the Blacklist will actually have next year because of Season 5, there are some quirks and things that longtime loyal listeners come to appreciate, like a Red story or Megan's eye rolls when James tells a story kind of thing. So just like that, we have Troy's question and You Dum Dum and Aaron mispronouncing things in Russian and Cyrillic, and of course, the Mother Theory. All that being said, much like the TV show, sometimes we have an off week. You know, was I off last week? Absolutely. I was on super duper cold medicine, and I was completely...
You were bitchy.
I was all over the map, and I apologize. But you know what? I also brought the best A game I could muster to make sure you guys had a show last week, and most of the people out there thought it was freaking hysterical last week. We were called an old married couple a few times discussing our stories last week. So in summary to Grace, thank you for your comment. It was a nice pick-me-up from my fog that I was in. And to Jax, I also thank you for your comment. We can't change who we are, but it's noted, and I can't promise we'll remember in the moment because I can't remember anything Aaron said 10 seconds ago. So I just hope you stick around because we'll have some more fun stuff planned for Season 5 next year.
We normally, a lot of shows won't even include like critiques, and I think criticism is always important. I also think it's important to remember that it's the same show that we've always done. It's really just kind of how we do it. I don't think it was any different. In fact, I think the response that I saw from last week was actually, except for that, exclusively positive. So I don't see it or agree with it. If many people felt that way, I would take a hard look at it. And I did listen to the episode, and I did not hear what you heard. Now, that doesn't mean you didn't hear it. I listen to podcasts all the time, and trust me, there are many episodes where people are raving about the episodes, and I didn't like it because of whatever the case may be. Most likely because Troy was bitchy. But we spend every week, we put several hours into it, and we try to give it a good podcast. And I think generally we do. The one thing that I won't do, and I will not apologize for it, is I am not going to alter or change who I am to benefit other I don't want to say other people, but to change how the show is done, because I believe in who I am, and I believe in the podcast and what Troy brings to the table and what I bring to the table. And we're going to do the best podcast we can the way that we've always done it, because that's just what we do.
Except when I don't, like last week.
Except when you don't. Like you're really super bitchy, yeah. But we do the best we can. Not every week is perfect. Not every week is as bad as some people think it is. So it really just depends on your perspective and how you felt about it. And we hope you keep coming back to the show, and I hope you keep listening. And we're going to keep doing the same thing we've been doing. And thank you for listening as much as you have.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Cool. Well, let's get on with the feedback for this week.
And I'm actually steering out of this because I have a graduation to get to or to plan for and to be ready for. So Troy's going to field this for the rest of the time, and I hope you guys enjoyed the feedback. But I will definitely be back for the finale for the whole thing, the whole kit and caboodle with all your feedback and all your cool stuff and excitement. And I hope everybody's revved up and pumped because I think it's going to be a fantastic finale. Take it away, Troy.
Nate writes in, "What a great episode. Bravo, bravo. While everyone else is talking about Red's secret chess moves with the Blacklister and Kate, I want to talk about Julian Gale. He's not only a horrible shot, but I think that was on purpose. My theory is that he will be a connection point to the bigger war of 2017 that we may get in Season 5. The Blacklist's equivalent to Marvel's Civil War and Infinity War. Tear everything down in the first war so a bigger threat can wreak havoc in the ultimate war. Poor wrestler. The dude gets his memory messed with, and it messes with his ability to keep his mouth shut. I would think he would know a simple word called discretion. Oh well. I like seeing Gerard in this episode, but I don't get how you get to walk free by not sharing anything. That made no sense at all. Liz did something in this episode that was so telling that I hope it causes Red to change his approach with Liz. When Liz yelled to warn Kaplan, it showed that she doesn't trust Red, and her love for Kaplan may be bringing up memories we don't know about just yet. Dembe gets to unpack some wisdom in this episode. You need to listen when those quiet ones decide to share. That was a great scene, and I cannot wait for the 2-hour finale. It's going to be a doozy. I agree, Nate. It's going to be fan-freaking-tastic. Lynn Hood Cheney writes in, says, I don't understand why Samar called Wrestler and told him that he needed to be there, or why he didn't call Cooper to verify. This episode was really good. Apparently, Kate likes to walk around in the woods. Then again, if she's turning into Red, he did that very recently himself. When Dembe talks, he packs a wallop. Dang, Kate to Red, and I loved you. And his facial reaction, priceless. And kudos to everyone who called Red behind the debt collector. Yep, that was me. I said that. And so did a bunch of us. Love when stories go the way that they need to go. Leanne wrote in and said, Gale isn't investigating Reddington in a vacuum. Someone in the FBI assigned him to the ice rink, regardless of the fact that the post office task force seems to be somewhat of an open secret at the Bureau. Who has the authority to assign Gale to the 86, but doesn't know that Raymond has floating immunity? For real? No one. Either Gale is being used, or, more likely, he's got cabal ties. Interesting, Leanne. That's a good one. Shannon says, I think that this was one of the saddest Blacklist episodes of the series. Kate has every reason to be furious with Red, and Red now has every reason to stop Kate from going any further in her quest to bring him down. We've come a long way from the tender sisterly moments of affection, like in Leonard Call, episode 219. The character touches were all over this episode. Kate's zero-tolerance approach to cyberbullying, Dembe's clarity and words of wisdom, Julian Gale doing his best to Jesse Eisenberg on Quaalude's impression, Donald Wrestler doing something, Liz not doing her best impression of the literal inanimate furniture of every scene she's in, and Red's emotional conversations with Kate and Dembe. Spiders and flies, talking together, really spectacular chaos. I wonder how it'll all end. I wonder too, Shannon. I wonder too. Dondi said, I think Liz will end up killing Kaplan either directly or indirectly, such as poison wine they both drink and only one antidote. Kaplan went over the line with Wrestler, and Red did offer a ceasefire that Kaplan rejected. I cannot see how she survives. Darn it, I'll miss her. So will I, Dondi. I was impressed by Dembe this week. That was some of the best dialogue they have ever given Hisham, in my honest opinion. Kudos. Thanks so much for writing in. Deborah Jean says, the daughter of Katerina Rostova would be framed for terrorist attacks on behalf of Russia to reignite the Cold War. The daughter of Raymond Reddington would be framed for infiltrating the FBI to help him expand his criminal empire. I think Cooper has known all along that Red is Liz's father, and I think that'll be the ace up his sleeve. The ace of spades Red referred of Liz in Madeline Pratt's episode. I think Cooper is going to sell out to cover his own skin, and do it by using the DNA test he did on Red and Liz in his own time a while back. I believe that's why Cooper told Wrestler he wants Gale to continue believing Liz is Red's inside man, because that's what he plans to sell. See, I knew that Cooper said that. I knew Cooper said, I want you to keep making him believe that Liz is the informant. I thought that was in the episode. Thank you, Deborah Jean. Anita said, something that was said from last episode occupied my thoughts. According to the dialogue between Kate and Katerina in Requiem, Katerina says, and let us believe it was the American, / Raymond, who kidnapped Masha. According to this last episode, Red indeed kidnaps Liz. She actually says it. You kidnapped me. And by the way, how could he risk her life after what happened with Hans? And while at the cabin, Kate states, I've watched you hold Elizabeth emotionally hostage. I never thought you'd hold her physically hostage as well. But he already did, and she would know that if we remember in 417 Requiem, if that is the truth. It looks as Kate contradicts what we learned in Requiem, so the question is, if what Mr. Kaplan said at the cabin is correct, who really kidnapped Masha/Liz years ago? She might have said that to avoid Liz knowing that Red kidnapped her once before, but what if Kate thinks Elizabeth should know the truth? It's a good possibility. I'll offer up the other explanation, and of course saying that he hasn't kidnapped her before, and this is the first time because, hello, hashtag mother theory. Whatevs. Okay, Art Hung. The decoy misdirection strategy about moving the corpse was shrewd. Somehow it's okay for Gale to pull out a gun and pop a shot off at Red. I knew that using a real or constructed threat to Liz was the way that Red would draw Mr. Kaplan into a face-to-face meeting. Looks like in the case of Red versus Kaplan, there can be only one. It's going to be interesting to see how it plays out next week. That's for sure, Art. Wendy Davis said, I said your name right, Wendy. Hi, guys. I want to first off say that both Susan and James did exceptionally well in last night's episode. If there are no deserving accolades for these two come award season, I'm going to start a riot. I agree. I called it last week, albeit tongue-in-cheek, that Red had lured Kaplan into the woods, but I didn't think he would use Lizzie to do it. Great twist. Love the interaction between Red and Dembe, and I think there is a big difference between Red and Kaplan's motives now. Red wants a ceasefire, and Kaplan not so much. At the end of the day, Katarina brought danger into Lizzie's life by her own actions. Red has been trying to keep Lizzie safe because of who she is. Right? As much as I want to chin Creepy Gale, he is an interesting add to the show. Now, can we have him and Samar on a one-on-one, please? Ooh, that'd be interesting. Like that, Wendy. I like it. Going towards the finale, I feel that Lizzie is going to be having her own Hobson's choice, Kaplan or Red. I hope she chooses wisely. Like that, too. Nice. Stock up on those bog roll, boys. I think we're going to need them. George Nauman, new one, writes in, says, just throwing this out there as it churns in my mind. Didn't they say last night that there were 6 bodies in the ice rink that were not yet identified? What if next week one of them is positively ID'd to be the real Red, who may have died in the fire from Liz's gunshot? Then we get the results of the DNA test that show current Red is a match to Liz. We go from having 0 dads to 2 dads. Or is it the mom theory? Like it, George. Love it. All right, Annalise Olivia is back and says, I'm so mad at Red. Using Liz in such a way to lure Kate out as bait, putting her in the same danger the same way as he did 25 years ago with Hans's son. I don't know what to expect now. Red stops at nothing. Kate is mad. Red is mad. And poor Liz and Agnes are caught in the middle. Grace says, I loved this week's episode. So much going on. It was so hard to follow. As for Gale, Red will probably figure out that he was the one who shot him and kill him. Kind of ironic since Gale was examining all the bodies that Mr. Kaplan turned over. Can't wait for the finale. Mr. Kaplan better die. Dude, it's harsh, Grace. Harsh. I'd be so mad if in the last few minutes of the finale, she's decided to make peace with Red. That would be such a waste of half a season. I love Kaplan, but at this point, it would be really a big waste writing in to keep her alive. Strong words, Grace. Strong words. We'll have to wait and see. Julie Fromhart said, what if Gale works for Red? Whoa, just hit me like a ton of bricks. Me too, Julie. Me too. Who better to lead the investigation? This is kind of interesting when you think about Nicholas being in the background there working for Werner, that if he has someone on the inside, could that be? And that's why he missed, because technically he's in Red's employ. I like that, Julie. I like it a lot. All right, Karen is up. Karen Miller says, okay, watching the debt collector again, and I just realized something huge. I think Red finally lied to Liz, or did he? When Red is on the phone telling Liz the debt collector is coming to get her, and he knows this because of all of his connections, Liz asks Red, did Mr. Kaplan hire him? Red did say no, and that Kate would never harm her. He went on to explain that someone else put him up to this. Red didn't say, I don't know who did this, but someone else put him up to this. Personally, I think that Red flat out lied to Liz, which he said he would never do. But maybe in his head, the way he worded it, someone else, which is Red, technically isn't a lie. I think he crossed the line. Technically, he lied and potentially put Liz in danger with that psycho. If she's his daughter, that was a dumb thing to do. I'm going to go with the Red on this one and say someone else is a truth. It is a true statement because it was someone else other than Kaplan. It was Red. Withholding information isn't the same thing as lying about it. Because lying about it, you're completely trying to spin it a different direction. Anyways, Kara Adler finishes us off. Okay, prediction for next week, next season, not based off of promos. Considering how larger threats tend to carry over between seasons, a la Berlin season 1 to 2, the Cabal Director season 2 to season 3, and Kirk season 3 to season 4, I think we are conditioned by the writers to expect that Kaplan would follow the same pattern. However, with Gale's confirmation that at the least Keen and Wrestler are working for Red, I'm thinking either he or whomever pointed him back on Red's direction is the true big bad. I sure hope Kaplan survives the finale. Kara, that would be fantastic because I love Susan Blumert, and I think she's a great addition to the show, and I'd love to see them working back together again for the sake of saving Liz's life because I think there is someone bigger and badder out there coming after her. We'll just have to wait and see who that is. Remember, 2 hours next week, 2 hours beginning at 9 Eastern, 8 Central on NBC. It's going to be fantastic.
You thought I was completely gone, but I wasn't. I stuck around for this part because it's going to conclude this episode. I wanted to make sure and say bye to everybody. So be sure to follow us on Twitter at the Blacklist GSM, where we live tweet during the East Coast feed, and we use the show's hashtag, the Blacklist.
Don't forget to follow us on Tumblr, Instagram, and also join our Facebook group. Just search for The Blacklist Exposed, talk about the show, the podcast, or what thing you would get revenge on in your life.
You can also subscribe to the podcast in Apple Podcasts. Also, Google Play Music or your favorite podcast player of choice. You can even listen from the website. But if you're really on the go, make sure you download our app for iOS and Android powered by Spreaker. You will also find all the intel and analysis about this episode for the Debt Collector by visiting theblacklistexposed.com. I do want to tell everybody, Troy actually came on my podcast, The Hollywood Outsider, this week. And we did a show on season finales, TV season finales. So you want to hear some more of us rambling? That was actually a really fun episode and interesting. Definitely check it out. He was still kind of bitchy, though, so just be warned.
It was episode 271 of The Hollywood Outsider.
At thehollywoodoutsider.com, yes, sir. And also this summer, because we're getting close to being done with Blacklist, you'll hear us on Remake This Movie Right. You'll hear Troy on Packers Fan Podcast and a lot of other stuff. So keep tuned, and next week we'll give you the full rundown of where everything will be, but just keep those ears tuned. Big thanks for listening. Don't forget to answer our profiling question, which is, what will Gale do now that he knows the truth? And we all know you can't handle the truth.
I stole my line. So we'll just say, remember, 2 hours. Don't be late.
Set your VCR. They still make those?
What are those things?
Set it for 6 hours. I don't know.
EP speed.
EP, that's what it was. EP speed. All right, take care, guys.
Until next time, I'm Agent Troy Heinrichs. That's at Troy Heinrichs on Twitter. And if you want to learn more about me, just visit, about.me/Troy Heinrichs.
And I'm Agent Aaron Peterson. You can hear me talking about movies and TV on the Hollywood Outsider podcast, as well as Remake This Movie Right. We are available at thehollywoodoutsider.com or on Twitter at H_outsider. Be sure to subscribe, download the app, submit your feedback, but most importantly, keep yourself off of the Blacklist.
The Blacklist Exposed is a Golden Spiral Media production. Find more of our great podcasts at goldenspiralmedia.com/podcasts.